Hi, this is Rob Bell. We're on Getting the Record Straight, the Black Rock and Soul edition, and I'm talking with Bobbi Booker. Bobbi was talking about her Spirit Soul music show on WRTI and really what the underpinnings of that show are, and really the kind of concept behind it. So I didn't want to. I'm sorry I had to stop you, but let's continue with that. You were saying that the music is important and music that sends a message. So go ahead, Bobbi.
It's the music, it's the lyrics, it's the intent.
Mm-hmm.
My whole thing is about taking that deep dive. Tapping your toe, but also tapping into your head and your heart.
Sure.
So that's my ultimate goal when I put together my playlist and make that presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also just an extension of my childhood
Mm-hmm.
and the availability of a variety of radio formats that were a part of what made up Philadelphia. I mean, I grew up in an era when I listened to the left hand side of the dial as much as I listened to the right hand side, and I
Sure.
definitely landed in the middle. I was on
Mm-hmm.
AM, I was
Mm-hmm.
on FM. I went wherever the feel good took me. So I try and continue that motif.
Mm-hmm. Hello, I'm losing you. Oh,
And
okay. You there, Bobbi? I'm sorry.
I'm here.
Okay, good. Well, I appreciate it, and like I said, I've tuned in many times. I wrote a book about 10 years ago. It's called The Myth of Rock and Roll, and the subtitle is The Racial Politics of American Popular Music. But when I was getting it edited, a person who was working with me said, why do you spend so many words, if you will, and pages on the 70s?" And of course, I'm a child. Actually went to Temple also in the 70s, and I told her, I said it was just a tremendous period of music and expression and political expression, and you had so many different genres and forms going on. It was just a fantastic time. I know I'll be talking to J. Michael Harrison sometime in the next 2 weeks, and he begins every show with Gil Scott Heron, and so we were all part of that, and of course Philly International. I think I saw something on your Facebook page with Kenny Gamble, and so that indeed was a great time. Um, what are you? Are there any artists, younger artists, or more contemporary that you're excited about, or that you try to feature these days?
I try and go all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when it comes to radio, and I tend to I'm working in terrestrial radio,
Mm-hmm.
traditional radio,
Right.
and there are still limitations. There always are because the bottom line is the dollar, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're in public or non-public, it still comes down to the dollar. So unfortunately, there are still so many artists that don't get the attention that they deserve
Mm-hmm.
in um, in the American market and even in this market.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and explore uh, the sounds that ethos that I was speaking of from the 70s and even 80s and 90s. When you look at neo soul, which kind of embraced again a
Mm-hmm.
lot of those messages that came out of the 70s.
Sure.
When those artists aren't discovered here, I've found them to be usually part of the British or UK
Mm-hmm.
dynamic.
Yeah.
The musicianship and the songwriting is it is equal to all things that we can recall from those dynamic 70s. So I'm always looking for folks. My playlist is all over the place. And there are so many unreleased gems that have been just gathering dust, and because they have now hit that 50+ year zone, they're being released. One in particular that I fell in love with at least a couple of years ago at this point was Marvin Gaye live at the Copa. And it's Marvin in his prime. We're talking like, I don't know, 1966 or something like that.
Right, okay.
And this album was basically in the vaults for 50 years. And it would have been, as far as I'm concerned, it would have been a hit in another era, but it was never released. And on that, because one thing about soul music, black music, R&B music, are that most of those artists were raised in the church.
Absolutely.
And they never forget.
Absolutely.
Their first stage was usually the pulpit, or in front of the pulpit, or the choir. You know, that's where they learned and oftentimes honed their gifts, their craft.
Absolutely.
So on so many albums, you know, if you went to that last cut, it was always dedicated to God, dedicated to Spirit, dedicated to the Father. That it was always that cut that was the praise cut, no matter how wild and crazy the artist may be known for. They had that one somber piece of music that reflected on their spiritual roots. And that's what I'm always looking for. And I usually strike gold at least 8 out of 10 times.
I hear you. I want to just ask you, you know, it's been a lot of people we've lost in terms of music recently. And in fact, I just looked and saw that Tony Allen, who used to be the drummer with Fela, passed away this week. But I noticed on your Facebook page, a gentleman you were drawing attention to, who I think just passed away, Mike Boone.
Now Mike is very much with us.
Oh, he's what did I?
Yes.
I must have misread that. I'm sorry.
No. Mike, I actually just did a Hometown Heroes piece about him for Jazz Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
So, and he kind of blew it up even more. He's got a very active, shall we say, Facebook page.
Oh, okay. I don't know how I got that turned around, but I'm glad he's still.
What's happening right now? So many people have been posting about folk who have died.
Yeah.
That when there's good news about folk who are like just doing what they do, it can easily become conflated. So I understand.
Let's see. You know, you were saying you grew up. Where did you grow up? In South Philly? Is it?
South Philadelphia.
South
born
Philly.
And raised.
Okay. A lot of history there. One of the reasons why I'm doing this and some of the other things I've worked on is because I don't think Philly artists in particular, particularly African American artists, musicians, have gotten as much credit as they should. I'll be talking with Ursula Rucker in another week or so, who's a fantastic spoken word artist and poet. You know, a lot of people don't know her and really should. And I just wanted to get some feedback from you in terms of the arts and culture scene here in Philly. You know, what's your feeling about that? Do you think that it's properly promoted enough? Like I said, I just think that we we lose so much in terms of our artists, and they're not promoted and given the exposure that they should. And I just wanted to get your opinion on that, and perhaps you could expound on it some.
Well, I'm in a very interesting position to expound on it because I've worked as a multimedia journalist for a very long time, and one of the mediums that I excelled in was as a print reporter with a particular focus on arts and culture. And one of the issues that the arts and culture community here in Philadelphia have faced, especially folk who are performers, is the loss of alternative newspapers where those stories of up and coming artists, those folk who didn't neatly fit in a box, those people who were just a little left or a whole lot left or right of center. These alternative outlets allow these people to shine, these artists to shine, and oftentimes would poke at the information trail and force the bigger boys, the Inquirers, the Daily Newses, and even some of the smaller but big community papers to take note of these artists and thus give them play. That's gone. What's happening in radio, where you had those those stations that allowed you to explore, where there was true college radio, where you had air personalities that would go deep on stuff that interests them, thus open the door for you to discover other things. Those are gone. But I can't say they've disappeared. They've just shifted.
Yeah.
And where they exist now is in a different location. So, the shift has to go along with it. But that's proven to be a big problem. And right now in Philadelphia, we're having an issue on the other side of what's happened with the pandemic, where funding for the arts may be pulled because it's really down to survival. And when it comes to survival, the first thing to go is the arts. But when it comes to healing, the first thing you need are the arts. So it's going to be interesting to see how things are dealt with in the coming months and years, because art and culture, music, the visual arts, all of these things are going to be needed to help this society regroup and come back to some semblance of itself. So, that's my TED Talk on the topic.
Well, it's right on point, too. And like I said, one of the reasons why I appreciate you, Warren, and why I'm doing some of this is really to shine a light on and give some exposure to folks, particularly here in Philly, who are just doing great work and have been doing it for some time. But on that note, I'm going to have to close this off and let you get back to what you've been doing. And I look forward to hearing you again. Bobbi Booker, thanks so much for sharing some time with us.
Indeed. I can be reached online. I'm at Bobbi Booker. That's BOBBIBOOKER on all platforms. And I will be, I'll see you on the radio on Mother's Day for our special edition of Spirit Soul Music on Ovation. Thanks again for making time to highlight what it is that I do, because I kind of work in a vacuum, but it's all from the heart, and it is my joy to do what I do, and thanks for sharing that.
Thank you so much. Take care now.